Hey,
See, that's what I get. I should just record
start, and you can edit it. You can edit
I
it.
can
Now.
always take it out if it's too personal at the beginning.
Yeah. Anyway,
You think it would have
I like
turned,
how. So,
especially since I
it's-
like the rolling start style. I'm sorry, Nick. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I like when you said it gets too personal after we did the video for mental health.
yeah. You know, sometimes
Yeah, but that
it's
one's a
too-
full disclosure. I checked in with both of you guys.
that's
you
true.
did.
You know,
That's true.
I
Yeah.
made sure, hey, this is gonna be on this thing, and you have
Yes.
up until I post it
Yes,
to tell me, hey, you know, I don't want that shit on there.
but
Well-
no one listens for subtlety or nuance. Everyone needs to double down or quadruple down.
They need sound bites.
Well,
Sound bites.
okay. For example, perfect example of what Chris is talking about is like,
Yeah.
you know how I told you guys in private that I have a giant goiter, and like it looks like it's right now, and like I would hate for people to hear that I have a huge goiter.
It
Just
started
say-
talking the other day, and like I didn't know if you wanted that on here.
Like, and I said, "Hey guys, I feel like that's between me and my family."
Oh, okay.
That's what we're talking about.
It sounds like two trash bags filled with leaves rubbing up against each other.
So
Huh.
upsetting. That's so upsetting to think about.
I heard that. I've heard that being used to describe an ass, and now I can't stop
especially if
saying it.
Especially if it's fake. Like
Two
Ooh.
trash bags filled with
it's
leaves.
on. Oh yeah.
Was that said complimentary? Like,
No, it
I
was.
feel like it's not, but like,
It was
with-
the
Is that
bash-
with? Huh.
It was to talk shit about the other person.
okay, because I
Like
was
cellulite.
because I've heard some people say some things where
Yeah.
they clearly think that they're complimenting someone.
Oh yeah,
That's not how a compliment works.
you just gotta
at
know
all.
the person at that point.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I feel
That's
like anytime you describe like a person, especially stuff that's like the like boobs, butt, penis,
Hmm.
balls, like you
Yeah.
gotta know the person, and they gotta know you.
no, listen,
Because
I
no
don't-
matter what happens after, it's gonna be the worst.
I totally agree with you. And then my mind immediately went through. In my experience, my limited, I'm not as worldly,
Yeah.
I guess. Like, what is something a significant other compliments their balls on? Like, oh, those balls.
Oh,
Those
they're
are
like,
ooh, that's like Christmas coming home.
that's like, it's two radiating orbs of heaven.
it's
heaven's
you know
light.
it's like Nana's putting the tea on. That's what it's like.
They look like the mounds of Mars.
Jesus Christ. It's
They're
like
my mistress. Oh.
what's those monsters from Dungeons and Dragons with all the eyes?
Oh, I
It's
don't
like
know.
that.
I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about, though.
I wish I knew more about D&D.
Yeah, that one.
I know. I wish I cared more. Are they beholders?
Yeah, beholders.
Yeah. Okay. Because I was like, the only closest thing to a D&D thing is this dice tray I have. That's like modeled
It's
after
pretty
a
awesome.
beholder.
So for a while, I got beholders and oh god, from Doom, the
Cacodemons?
cocodemons. I used to get those mixed up.
They're pretty much the same thing, except
Almost
cacodemons
the
only
same.
have like one eye.
Yeah, and they don't have giant tentacles for
No.
eyes.
Yeah. Are the cock demons on fire?
No,
No,
I feel like beholders are
No.
on fire. Yeah.
no.
I don't think beholders are. Are you thinking of like those the bombs from Final Fantasy? Because those are sentient orbs of flame.
Yeah, I know the ones you're talking about. I guess in my mind, beholders are always in like hell places, like
Mhm.
on fire areas.
Is that true?
Maybe
You
they're
know
not.
what? You could be fucking right, dude. I don't know.
But
Well, actually, no, just kidding.
No, actually, in this version,
and if ever say in the expanded universe.
Universe.
Over.
Yeah. It's just a word. Calm down.
Oh my god.
The only reason I ever want to get back into playing D&D, because I have tried
Yeah.
twice, and
Yeah.
both times
Sure
were
did.
failures.
You did.
Well, it ended up being the people I was playing with, as it
That's
always
true.
is.
It's
You
their,
got to pick the right.
You really
group.
do, man. Like,
yeah.
and then the worst part is you won't find out things about them until like way down the line.
Oh, that
Yeah.
always sucks. That's why you gotta be upfront about everything,
Yeah.
so people don't waste their time. You
Yeah.
know, like
Anyway, like the only reason I want to go back is because I think I've talked with you guys. I have an idea for a game that would just be using the D&D thing,
okay,
but I would
And it would be
completely change
impossible.
it up. Yeah,
Yeah,
it would,
I remember.
It would be totally like not at all taking place in the universe.
well, we just file our taxes there, or
Thought about it.
roll
It's-
dice for compound interest.
It's
What?
honestly got a lot of influence from your number one hero. It's got some Nomura influences, in my opinion, in what you
Oh
described.
yeah. Oh yeah. You think Nomura's my number one here?
Oh, defo. He loves it.
Loves it. Loves it. Like, oi, fuck. Cause you know the kind of art I like, or like the kind of stories and I guess art, if you can call those pieces of writing art.
Sure.
And that they're always trying to find beauty in like the grotesque or the mundane
Mhm.
stuff, where you're like the simple things,
Yeah.
or like stuff that's just you wouldn't think to look at it that way.
Mhm.
So like the whole idea of making you guys do your taxes in the game is not out of the question, but like I would do like a whole bureaucratic thing. Well, you got to file out these forms and all that.
You are just like on the cusp of becoming Jigsaw. That's what you're describing.
Yeah, but there would be no point.
This game will
Like Jigsaw. No.
appreciate it.
Excuse me, Orc, you did not file. You did not file for your 27-B. You actually have to file for your 28-A.
I mean, what are we running here, man? What are we?
And,
There's an order to things.
I'm going to remind you that in your current tax bracket, it's actually easier if you itemize. So,
Listen,
Yeah.
if you're an independent contractor here, you know, it's going to be a lump sum tax. It's not going to be constantly taken out, so it's a lot at the end of the year. So you got to itemize that shit. Otherwise, it's going to take everything. No. So
sometimes, go ahead.
that's going to be great because people are just going to go, this Chris find taxes, this Chris find beauty in doing taxes.
The
You
answer
find
is
beauty in anything. I mean,
The answer is yes. No, the answer is the answer is I would
Maybe.
look for the beauty in the people doing it or the entire system.
boo.
I know. But like
There's
how
a-
fucked up it is and how these people try, man.
God.
How these people try to make a living.
Oh my God. Okay.
Wow. Okay. I'm coming around.
You coming around? You coming around?
No.
Around.
I know I've been sold since you explained it to me, but
Yeah.
again, we just got to get people willing to put up with whatever you got.
I
going
found
on,
at
man.
least
one.
found at
You
least
got
one.
one victim. Yeah, you got one.
Well, because I assume you guys would do it, and I don't know if that's true. And
You
like,
fucking assume.
and I don't know if that's
yeah,
true.
I try it.
You try it? It's not at all what you guys would think it would be. I have like, it would be a lot of like fandom and like just pulling shit from places for certain
Okay.
Uh-huh.
parts, but I found at least one. It's Edwin. You've met Edwin, Ian.
Yeah.
I think like 2 or 3 times now. He would be down because he likes D&D.
Okay.
I would love to say Call Me Applespot would be down for it. At the very least, I would want them to be down to be in it.
Well, what if we just said now? Yes, they are. It's on the record.
Yeah, speak for them. There it is. See right
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
bam.
Corey
Yeah, exactly.
totally wouldn't be down for this.
Yeah, he would.
Absolutely not. I don't think.
No, he would.
You think
Just put
so?
Kamen Rider in it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. If I put a Power Ranger, if I put a Power Ranger.
Put a Power Ranger, put a Kamen Rider as his attorney, and you're good.
Yeah.
You're Gucci. Yeah.
Guys, okay, so this is a digression. I apologize, but you mentioning Corey really reminded me. I just one thing I do, you guys know this, but for everyone else, one thing I like to do when I'm a little stressed out, hard work week, whatever. I wanna unwind.
Yeah.
I'll sometimes put on stuff from the 90s, and there's just something weirdly and automatically comforting about stuff.
It's nostalgia for you, right?
It's nostalgia, yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that I weirdly found full episodes of, that's what shocked me. It was a show called The Big Bad Beetleborgs.
Hell yeah. I feel like we talk about Big Bad Beetleborgs
Oh, do we?
on here more than like
No,
the
not
popular Power
again.
Rangers.
No. Why?
Guys, it's like the Power Rangers, but also robots, but also
Well,
there's
Yeah.
They're also Beatles.
They're
they're
Beatles. They're bad.
And they're big.
They're big.
And on some days, they're Borgs.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't know what else I have to go through. Like the lady who played Rita Repulsa did voiceover for that show. So if you like,
Oh, she did voiceover for a lot of things. Remember, she's Naoto and Fully Cooley.
Barbara Goodson, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, is that the same? I had no idea.
Well, you
The
didn't-
voices.
Wow.
The
I had
voices.
no- Right, the
Yeah.
voices.
Not
Yeah.
the actual
Not
actress.
the physical body on screen.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That's wild though. That's oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Because I'm now you said it, and I'm now.
She's in
hearing-
everything, dude. She's a working voice actor.
She's God bless her. She's doing
Yeah.
good. She's doing some real good stuff.
Yeah, she's still
including-
doing stuff too. She's in P5.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember we talked about that a little.
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
Oh, she was Lady Borg and Beetleborg.
Yeah, she was Lady Borg.
Big Bad Beetleborg. All right, so you're watching Big Bad Beetleborgs.
And
watched
what's your
a little
takeaway narratively?
Narratively,
Speak it to me.
Sweet three.
it's honestly like it's everything that Saban could have wanted. It's like
Right?
there's almost nothing but raw material to cut together and work with.
Yeah, look at those children.
Look at those children. You want to be like those kids? What about now? Another Borgs who are Beatles.
Yeah.
They're friends with a ghost who's
They
doing
are.
a Robin Williams impression.
Wow, I don't remember that.
Like the way that the Big Bad Beetleborgs get their powers in the show is
Oh,
that
it's
they
Billy
go to-
Forrester who plays him.
It's Billy Forrester. That's right.
I'm
Goes
just
to-
looking shit up right now. So
Go ahead, Ian.
They go to a haunted house, free a ghost, who then gives them superpowers from a comic book that they like. So it's
Yeah.
comic books, horror movies, and sci-fi all in one show. What more do you want?
it really is 90s in that it tries to do everything.
He tries to do everything and ends up doing kind of 30% of anything.
Mhm.
Didn't one of the kids' parents own a comic shop?
Yeah, the one boy, his mom and his auntie ran the comic shop. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's very 90s, especially that comic
Uh,
shop. Jesus Christ.
especially the comic book shop, who then gets renamed the Beetleborg Comic Shop
Mhm.
because they got to brand it because that's where their HQ is. But anyway, yeah, I'd love to talk about that show with Corey. Man, that'd be fun. I'm sure he has thoughts about that, conceivably.
I know he has thoughts of VR Troopers
Yeah.
Okay.
and
Yeah.
No,
VR
that's it.
Squad. We are VR. That's where
Squad.
it's at.
So anyway, that's a taste of what I've been doing. Hey guys,
okay. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, hey guys, which one are we on again, really quick, just so we can
I
do
don't
it.
fucking know.
Doesn't matter. No.
It's 30 something.
30 something.
Okay. It feels like
I'll say
a 40
It's
something.
35.
Yeah.
No. Shit,
37.
it would be because September's right after August. Yeah, it's It's 35.
Kick it live.
Oh, we got to think about that anniversary one, man.
What, for 40 or?
No, for 36.
36.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many years now?
That's 3.
3.
Gee, wow. Okay.
How about that, gang? Come off in the comments.
I know. I feel like I think it's because of how little work we do for this thing.
Nice.
Keep,
That's how you know.
to keep it up.
You are correct.
Zap
Yes,
him
Chris.
out.
Record everything.
Yeah.
Record everything you say for gems like that.
Yeah. No. I just wanted to your point of like trying to unwind.
Sure.
I had like a really crazy week at work, and
wanna
to
talk about it?
unwind, I'll talk about it in a bit.
Okay.
But to unwind, I would watch more Penn and Teller.
Okay.
Penn and Teller Fool Us. And I think I've talked about it before. It's like the only game, quote unquote, game show. I mean, there are stakes.
There's stakes.
There's stakes, and it's pretty good. It's a show in Vegas that you do, and like that's big for especially in Magic.
It is.
And like, I don't know. I find it. I mean, we've talked about this before, right? Because it's all skill based. It's people who have put like their lives into it. It's like that one cooking show I really liked on Netflix, not because it was like Food Network or anything. It's because it's just people getting to say they're the best in the world, or having top chefs like actually critique their work.
Are we talking about Iron Chef? Which one
No,
are we-
there. I forget the name on Netflix, but it's along that line where it's like, yeah, people are doing these artistic or skillful things, and I don't know. I find it relaxing.
No, you know what? Let me agree with you, because I think there's something really neat about watching someone who's very good at anything, like someone who's like an expert at whatever, and watching them just kind of do it, and and then you know, I think that there's some value inherently in just about any situation where you're watching that. Like I had a writing teacher early on who was like, hey, you can find someone who's an expert glass blower, but if they're the best, they will teach you something that is applicable in your life.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Because at some point, like at any when you reach a high enough skill level, it becomes all philosophy and like how you approach certain stuff, like working or mental philosophy.
Yeah.
Towards at some point it just becomes that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because like the barriers are now just like mental.
Yeah, you have mastered the technical or physiological aspect of it. Like, let's say for the baking thing, like there's only so much you can do as far as making a really good pecan pie. Like there's a threshold at which you can't get nicer crust or nuts.
Yeah,
that's it. And so the trick is then like, how are you approaching your just general interaction with this experience?
Yeah.
How are you handling it?
What are you adding? What's setting it apart?
Yeah.
No, yeah. So hey, that's a way I unwind. That's like, I mean, I wouldn't call that. I definitely wouldn't say that show's trashy, but it's just the idea of like a game show. Like, but it's not, again, because it's people who are really skilled trying to show off their things to others who are really skilled.
Yes.
So I wouldn't even call it that. It's like it's very unique in that type of game show, which is why I probably watch it.
I mean, yeah, there's a handful of shows out there that I agree with you. They're not even necessarily things that I myself know how to do or would want to do, but I sure like watching people who are real good at I don't know, the one that comes to mind, I guess, is like a show like Mythbusters, conceivably, just like watching people who are really handy machinists, like just understand
Oh yeah.
how to piece together a piece of equipment
Mhm.
and make it perform one specific task. Like
Yeah.
there's something really there's in that alone, I think, is something meditative.
Yeah.
Something, oh, just watch like someone spend a week building a machine that just makes a piece of straw go really, really, really far.
God, I used to watch. I mean, rest in peace, Grant Imahara, because that happened between
Shit,
the
fuck.
last one.
Yeah.
Fucking that show. That show was so important in like my upbringing.
Yes.
Like the more and more I look back on it, and just like how I approach the world. And I mean, I'm still like a big science guy, but I was even more so, like growing up. And you guys knew me like before, like the whole writing thing started happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, that one hit home.
No,
Dude
I
was
mean,
so young, man.
he's what 40 something. He was like 40 something.
43, I think, or
43. Yeah.
fucking
For-
aneurysm.
And that shit comes out of nowhere. I was so
Yeah.
dreading look, just like let us acknowledge and push through this little segment of sadness and get to the other side of it. But I like, man, in the last month or so, like there's just been several instances of like, oh shit, like I think this has been a really awakening moment for you know what, I'm going to be constructive and say something diplomatic. I'm going to phrase it diplomatically.
Okay.
It's been a constructive moment for people who have possessed skepticism about the current state of affairs in the world.
Yeah.
When they see that, like, oh no, there's like people who are public figures, they exist in the world and they are having it because somehow I don't know, it just seems like, I guess there's big pockets of this country in particular where people get to keep saying like, it's been, you know, however long, I don't know anybody who's sick, et cetera, but like,
well, Tom Hanks and his wife were one of the like some of the most prolific.
Some of the first, and got it real bad.
Apparently, according like to Conan O'Brien podcast he was on after they pulled through. One, everyone should go listen to it because yes, he is like the nicest guy in the world, but still knows how to crack wise. Two, talking about like the differences that happen between his experience and his wife, who I wish I could remember her name. It sucks because I know she has her own legacy going on.
Sure.
But also, apparently, like doctors kept, like his doctor is asking for more plasma from him.
Oh,
because apparently it's good against coronavirus or something.
Okay.
Or something to happen. Rita Wilson is who he's married to.
Rita Wilson.
Yeah, who like made stuff like Mamma Mia. So.
Oh, okay.
That's where I know her name
from. She's a powerful force in Hollywood herself. Yes.
Yeah, that's why I feel bad I don't remember her name. But yeah,
well,
that's so that might be cool. Tom Hanks is like
Tom Hanks's body is actually healing the country
somehow.
Well, thank God he's human.
Yes.
Thankfully, he's not a robot.
Yeah.
Yeah, good thing we don't have any evidence of that.
But yeah, one can hope, man. I think it's gonna help more people. Well, it's gonna make more people realize that. But also at the same time, it's like those loud few who gain traction.
Sure.
Or not.
So I'm gonna mention one last one and jump ship. But
I can do a nice thing about Mythbusters to lead us.
Oh, okay.
Too. But like,
okay,
Go ahead. You go ahead.
I was just going to say, on the other end of public figures in experience, I don't know if anybody, probably not, remembers that guy who ran for president like 8 or 16 years ago, thereabouts. I don't remember how time works anymore.
Okay.
Bob Dole?
Herman Cain.
Herman Cain.
who's big
Yeah,
Trump
that happened
support.
yesterday, right?
That happened yesterday.
Yeah.
But and I'm not going to make any kind of light of it. It's horrible that something like this would happen.
Yeah.
But I will put it in the context of the very last thing that was tweeted by Herman Cain, and that's all. We'll just let it stand on its own. Here from the Trump rally, masks will not be mandatory for the event. We will be attended with all the support of Americans. People are fed up with this.
Yeah.
So put a mask on your fucking face.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it's horrible that someone has to become an object lesson in that way.
Yeah.
I would hope very, very much that the people who were close to him, or the people who resonated with that individual's beliefs or ideals, hopefully would take pause and maybe would start to change at least their sanitary habits in this time, and realize that it's nothing to joke about. It's a very serious thing, and it's not some kind of party line thing either. It's something for everybody. So yeah.
And it says a lot that probably more about me than anything, honestly. But where I listen to it, I go, wow, that's pretty optimistic. That's pretty optimistic, Ian. But I mean, one could hope. Yeah.
Listen, you don't want to wish ill on me. I don't want to wish ill on people.
No. Yeah, that's not even what I'm saying. I'm just thinking of people learning.
Oh no! I'm under no misapprehension.
Is that cat?
Yeah, that's that fucking cat.
Okay. Hi, cat.
Why not just get a stick and poke it?
Audrey, get the fuck out.
Get the fuck out of here.
The cat's name is Audrey, right?
Yeah.
Dang.
You little lion. It's going to eat your face, Ian. You got crickets on your head. How about that?
Ian, Audrey would eat you in a second.
Oh, if given the chance? Yeah. She would kill us all.
Tastes like kosher. Anyway.
Yeah. What were you gonna say about Mythbusters though? You had a secondary.
I'm just trying to think what I would taste like. It wouldn't be like a fajita. It'd be like
oh, watch
because
out.
it wouldn't be cooked. It would be.
Do you think you have an innate flavor?
No, I don't think. It's probably salty. Or some humans predisposed to be salty.
I think I hear about people who retain water, and I think that just means you have a lot of salt in your body.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's what I think that is. So.
Well, we can go back to the Mythbusters thing. A nice little tidbit to get us on with our weeks or with our months. But again, rest in peace, Grant Imahara. Can't stress enough how much that show had an impact on me. Yeah. So growing up, I never had a celebrity crush, except for
Adam.
For around middle school, it was probably Carrie Byron. Only time.
Sure.
Only time. That's a little tidbit from Chris's life.
Just for you all.
Yeah. She wore an Iron Maiden shirt and being only 13 or 14 at the time and a metalhead going, oh yeah, that's enough for me to have a celebrity crush.
Oh.
No, she was super smart, and she's super smart too. So.
She is very smart. Yeah. She's a talented science lady.
I hope so. I mean, to be on that show, you got to do a lot. But whenever I think of that, I think of when they had to test out on cow. Remember that episode? They had cow carcasses. They had a shipment of them, and then to test out on a device,
from,
and
a
then
meat packing plant or something.
Yeah, and I think at the time she was a very passionate vegan or vegetarian.
Yeah.
And I think it was either Grant or Adam who pulled out the freaking cow spine with meat on it.
Oh my God.
And started waving it around, and she started puking on the corner of the street.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
It's like just waving around
Comedy.
like a pool noodle, and I was like, Jesus
pure
Christ.
comedy, guys.
And then you look back, you're like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, it was bad.
I felt that way.
I think it wasn't funny either. Never mind.
Oh no, I said I laughed at the time, but looking back, you're like, the fuck.
Yeah,
Oh, I still think it's funny. I can feel bad and think it's funny.
the only one that I felt that I had a moment of, I laughed at the time, and now looking back, I was like, that's not chill.
Oh, we could go all day about stuff like that.
We can do everything. Yeah.
You remember when Adam gets electrocuted by someone?
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
And then they basically said like, oh, the producers essentially bullied the people into like, you need to make this happen. It'll make the episode really. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I heard about that later.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck.
Fuck that guy. But I did laugh at that time because I'm a monster.
Oh,
So
what's everyone been up to? First of all, Ian, I do want to say it's good to hear your voice again.
Oh, hey man, same to you. Good to
Yeah,
hear
just because we've been chatting through text messages, so.
Yes.
And it's more like short stuff.
And this is.
I miss bits with you, Ian. I will say that.
Oh, you're gonna get a. Oh, I'm gonna shtick it up. You're gonna wish.
I know we're just gonna hang out at like some get together or something. It's gonna be like a vaudeville act.
Oh, people are gonna ask. I don't know. Okay, tell me if this has ever happened to you. I feel like if anybody this has happened to, Chris, is you're in a situation. By the way, this happened to me. So
Okay.
You're in a situation with a friend,
Mm-hmm.
and you've got inside jokes and bits that you do,
Yeah.
and you're just kind of on a roll. You do them.
Yeah.
To the point where someone else who is present at that event says, so you guys ever like just talk like fucking people?
I haven't had someone tell me that. I've gotten looks where I'm like, that's what they're thinking. Because me and Nick could just say stuff from things we've watched or quote, and like with no context whatsoever, and we know exactly what we're talking about.
Right.
And then of course with you, that's happened.
Sure. We've got some shorthand.
Probably happened a lot more when I was younger. And I was hanging out with my friends like almost 24/7.
Yeah, you develop that language in tight social.
Where they're not even conversations anymore. They're just phrases being said.
It's call and response at that point.
Yeah.
You're not communicating anything except
like, I might as
know
well be making like a bird call.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like for all the information outside, like people who aren't part of it would understand.
Before I let Nick jump into his month, I've got to just throw out something. Really quick, guys. That's absolutely on this topic.
Nick, is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay,
You
cool.
good? Okay.
Yeah.
There's this competition I was watching. Call and response is what made me think of this. I was watching this competition I stumbled on YouTube called Husband Calling.
Husband what?
Husband Calling, but they
Husband
put
Calling.
an apostrophe where the G should be. So Husband Calling.
Okay.
And Husband Calling is like a competition. It happens once a year in like Kentucky, that sort of Kentucky area.
Okay.
Down, not the deep south, but just kind of like right around Maryland, Kentucky kind of area.
Okay.
And the competition is presumably, I guess, only for married women. And it is a competition that is meant to harken back to the days of farm life, where wives had to call their husband in at the end of the day. And
so like what, a fucking cowbell or like a triangle?
No. It's even better. So that is what I pictured. And each one of them, it starts with Dingle in the triangle, So you
Yes.
get like a light, and then these women, they let rip so hard, and it's just the most psychotic thing I've ever heard. I didn't even get to watch it. It's just audio.
Okay.
And
You really need to watch this. Holy shit.
Oh, you're looking.
oh, have you found it?
Oh my god, this thing's terrifying.
It's amazing. And so you'll just have a woman. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I like first place for 2017 because she's very aware of how silly it is.
Well, good.
She's
Good.
telling like a whole story right there. It's great.
But it's essentially like a woman comes up to the podium without any microphone, any assistance, and screams her husband's name over and over again. And then she is judged on how good she is at husband calling. And it's literally just like a woman who will go up for 30 seconds, a minute, and some of them have different methods. Some of them go start out real low, work up high, right,
Clifford.
Yes, exactly.
I'm
like
reading
that.
the article.
Oh, okay. Anyway, that's weird. Y'all should maybe take a look at that. That's just kind of a neat thing that'll pass a few moments.
Thanks, PBS.
So weird.
That's a trip.
Pivoting. What's going with you, Nick?
Nick, what's going on? What's the tease?
That's all you've been doing this month, Ian? Just been watching husband calling contests?
That's literally I was in a
That's how you de-stress?
Try not to die from that bearded dragon.
Try not to die from the dragon, your cat, and you relieve your stress by watching Big Bad Beetleborg.
Do you want me to? I'll go through. I'll go through the rest of my stuff. I only have a handful of things. Then we'll jump over. All right. I started my first Stephen King book in like a year and a half or more.
Wow, has it been that long since you read something from him?
I just had just something by him. I just kind of had to take a break just because honestly, like when you get into it, he's got so much shit. Like you'll get swallowed.
Yeah.
You don't have an opportunity. You know what I mean? Like so, I was like, give someone else a chance. So I took a break from.
Oh, hang on. Let me explain for why that's so surprising. Is that Ian's like favorite author of all time is like Stephen King.
Yes, I love King's stuff. It's
like,
really well done.
I can't overstate to people how much that was part of his identity when I first met him.
I think when you first met me, and this will be a short story, but I think when you first met me, I was still kind of building my little collection because I definitely remember we would have lunch and we were in high school. We would have lunch together. Yeah. And I knew a kid whose dad had Stephen King books.
Okay.
And I would pass him like $5 bills, like just change.
Okay.
And he would bring me hardback copies of the books, but we would exchange them at lunch, like like a
fucking library. There was libraries, man. There was like.
Oh my god.
There's two libraries. There was one in the school, which I know had some. And there was the one across the fucking street.
I know. I wanted it. I didn't want to rent a book. I wanted my book. So.
Wait. So you bought them. You didn't.
I bought them off this guy's dad, and so
okay. Then that's fine. $5.
I was using
that's good.
Yeah, I was using like little crumpled lunch money stipends, paying him, and then I would just read him. Yeah, this is true.
Okay.
Folks. That did.
I thought you were just renting.
Oh God no.
That's really funny.
I was like, you got robbed as a kid, dude. Is what you're telling me.
$5? Ooh.
So I just picked up Insomnia, which was his. I think it was 1994. It was.
Okay.
It's a really good book. I don't know what to say. It reads super easy. His writing style is really effortless for me. It feels like, I just say that as in comparison to other writers, sometimes their prose, the shape of their prose is a little less digestible, and you might have to reread. I've never had to reread. Like you burn through that page.
Yeah. Like,
And you
good.
absorb it.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, as an example, like it took me a little bit to get into Octavia Butler style.
Yeah.
But once I did, like, I really grabbed towards it. And honestly, that's probably because I didn't read a lot of sci-fi written by Black authors at the time.
I had to
So-
adjust.
So quite honestly, that's my fault. Like,
My B. I had to adjust.
yeah, that sounds awful. No, but like, because that was a moment I was like, oh yeah, I should probably broaden my horizons here. I can only read
Gotta
as
stay
much as I
woke.
love Kurt Vonnegut and like some of the other sci-fi guys, I should probably broaden. And Octavia Butler is like phenomenal.
She's really good.
Yeah.
I actually have a copy of The Sower of the Seed, and I haven't gotten a chance to read it yet.
Oh
But
yeah, it's gonna be good shit.
I'm very excited. Very excited about it.
It's very scary how spot on she is about stuff.
Okay, so you reminded me of the show I watched. I'll get to that. in a
Okay.
But so just a brief thing about Insomnia is essentially it's about a man who's just turned 70 who loses his wife to an aneurysm,
Damn.
and he essentially starts to, he's an early waker form of
Okay.
insomnia. That is to say, like, instead of not being able to go to sleep, he just keeps getting up at 4 and then 3:30 and then 3 and then 2:30, et cetera,
Yeah.
et cetera. Until he's eventually just like can't sleep anymore
Mhm.
and is getting delirious.
Yeah.
And his delirium slightly makes it seem how into the story do you want? I'll just give you the setup, the rough idea for people who want to read it.
Mhm.
So he starts to see things that may or may not be there, including like auras, like the energy coming out of people, hearing people's thoughts, seeing beings that may or may not be there that seem to not behave the way natural law instructs. And then kind of a central conflict of that storyline is the protagonist had kind of inserted himself into a domestic dispute
Mhm.
that he had caught. And the woman then ends up moving into this woman's shelter for women who are, getting away from abusive husbands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a big stink in the community because because the center not only is, it's a woman's center in that it does planning for survivors of abuse. It does planning for, abortions. It does contraception. It does, all these sorts of things that parts of rural Maine are not super into.
Okay.
And so the conflict then becomes whether or not some kind of supernatural entity is going to insert itself and push political extremists to try to attack a center filled with abuse survivors, essentially.
Okay.
And the only guy who can help is a 70-year-old who can't sleep anymore. And is
Finally.
physically weak, both physically weak and like can't stand for very long, but he knows what everyone's thinking.
Yeah, fuck the police. Get this guy who can't sleep.
Who can't sleep.
He is bespoketh. He's phasing through walls.
Tis
Yeah.
his time.
There's a lot of like fucking wild kind of Doctor Strange psychedelic stuff that happens in several parts of it where it's just like reality melts. It's really, that's fun stuff. It's fun stuff. Easy to read. It's like 700 pages because of course, but I got through the first, I basically did 150 a day. It's going pretty quick. So.
Big flex. Cool.
Yeah.
Jesus, Nick, you can't let like him.
That's great, man.
Yeah, the book's fun. The book's really fun. I'd recommend it.
Yeah.
And I'll just really quick recommend this other thing I just started watching, I actually binged the whole show.
Mm-hmm.
I watched this series called The Plot Against America.
Okay, I feel like that's familiar. It sounds familiar.
It's based on a novel by Philip Roth,
Okay.
who, wrote the dirtiest book I've ever read. And
Yeah.
but this book is about being it's a fictionalized version of his childhood, written in 2004, but it's set in 1940.
Okay.
And the show is pretty reliable to the source material, I would say.
Gotcha.
So the show is set in New Jersey, and it's following this the Roth family, a Jewish family,
Mm-hmm.
and all the things that are happening in the 30s and 40s have happened.
Yeah.
But this one, this one is I guess in the same ilk as Man in the High Castle, but it's just slightly less conceptual.
Okay.
It's historical fiction where one fact changes, and then we get to see the fallout of that one adjustment, essentially.
Okay.
So in this show,
So alternate history stuff.
it's alternate history stuff, yeah. So I'll talk a little bit about like my take on it, and that. But so in episode 2, you get to the election of 1940, where FDR is running for his 3rd term as president.
Okay.
And running against him on the opposite side is Charles Lindbergh.
Okay.
Now, I guess the only necessary historical context is Charles Lindbergh was a World War I pilot hero for America.
And his baby would disappear.
And his baby would later disappear.
Of course.
But Charles Lindbergh also was, not in the 40s, but later on, like later in history, in hindsight, was very looked down upon just because he did not follow the rules of American practice in the 30s and 40s, and actually expanded his businesses overseas in Germany because it was making good money.
War profiteering.
War profiteering, essentially, yeah. Him and Coca-Cola. So, so he then, in real life, actually gets awarded the Iron Cross by Goebbels.
Shit.
Yeah. And so in this show, though.
Hello?
Ian got cut off again.
Yeah, I think Ian got cut off.
Well, we'll just let him keep going.
Okay. So
how's my month? Good question. My month was pretty good.
Your month was pretty great. You can tell.
It was great.
Imagine we got all the power.
Oh, he's back. All right, Ian, you got cut out.
Sorry. Okay.
You got cut out when
Imagine?
No. Where he got the Iron Cross.
He got the Iron Cross. Okay, so he got the Iron Cross. That really happened.
Yeah.
So in this show, he becomes president, and they kind of center the narrative around the idea of what would happen to real Americans if a millionaire who's never been in politics suddenly won office and kept giving things to weird far-right groups to appease them over and over again. Who could imagine such a thing?
Yeah.
And then, honestly, the show at the end was just such a fucking bummer. I didn't really like. So here's what I want to say first. It's a great show. It's really well done.
Okay.
It's wonderfully acted. Winona Ryder is one of the main characters in it.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
She plays the auntie, and she's very good. But holy shit, it is just a hard. I think just especially now at this moment, I think they made the show to be like commentary on contemporary life, but sometimes it yeah.
Well,
I really do.
It's what we live in.
That's the hypothesis I'm working with right now.
But there are moments where maybe my recommendation would be don't watch it all at once necessarily, because it can feel kind of, at least for me, I was overwhelmed and I just thought, well, fuck. What? To give you some high points of where my mentality kind of goes. So Winona Ryder is the auntie from this Jewish family.
Okay.
And she's been jilted and is very desperate to find a nice Jewish man to make her mother proud while her mother is passing away. Winona Ryder then meets this rabbi who's interested in finding a wife and seems to like Winona Ryder very much because Winona.
Yeah.
And it turns out that he is then hired by Charles Lindbergh to be a sort of media representative and also be, well, I can't hate Jewish people. I hired this Jewish guy.
Yep.
Clearly, yeah.
The token Jewish, yeah.
The token Jewish guy. And so you then get, also Harold Ford, Henry Ford is in the show, and he's the Secretary of Defense and is super not into Jewish people.
Wait, Henry Ford, the actor, or Henry Ford, the president?
No, not Henry Ford. Gerald Ford.
Oh,
not Gerald Ford. Gerald Ford is a president.
Gerald Ford is a president. Henry Ford is, I think, the
car manufacturer.
The car guy, yeah.
Yeah. He gets to be a part of the White House and is super, not chill. So you essentially
not chill.
Not chill, guys. You get to see this kind of slow normalization. And a lot of the show is also about it's not like it's one day America is America and the next day it's Nazi town.
Yeah.
It's we may not agree with what Germany is doing, but they're their own country and they have their right to do what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then it slowly gets a little bit more, and then you get to the scene where Winona Ryder and her husband, who works in the cabinet for the president, is invited to a state dinner where they invite the Germans for state dinner.
Yeah.
And they deliberately keep trying to separate her from her husband through the dinner until they can get her alone at this dance, and she gets caught on the dance floor by the Minister of Propaganda, Goebbels. It would have been Joseph Goebbels. And then he smiles and holds her and starts just dancing with her, and she's like, oh, well, you're wearing that outfit, but you're smiling. So they then, of course, have cameras flood into the room, immediately track on Winona Ryder, this Jewish woman dancing with a Nazi, and then plaster that everywhere, essentially to say see, they're civil. They know. They know better. They're not animals.
Jesus.
And the show just gets progressively more upsetting as it goes on, and then the show ends. That's also how the show ends. The show ends with the 1944 election.
Okay.
Wherein you don't get to see what the result is. You just see the election happen and people starting to read ballots, and people are saying this and that about all kinds of terrible things that have been happening in the country as far as violence and destruction of civility. And they're like, the truth is Lindbergh isn't even really sure if he can trust this election. I mean, he might have to just stay if he can't trust it. And I, at that point, was like, I can't watch this show anymore. I can't fucking watch the show. It's really good. It's a good show, but maybe watch something else with it. Yeah.
Heavy.
Is it based on a true story?
That is really what happened when Henry Ford became president.
Nick, it's getting really close.
It's preemptively based on a true story.
Yeah.
Oh man. So I don't know. Those were my big things this month.
Okay.
Nice.
What about you?
You can go ahead, Nick.
Oh, okay. I mean, a bunch of new games came out, so I was trying out like as much as I can. I got like really into the new Super Hot 3.
Mhm.
That's the first
Control,
person
Alt,
shooter
Delete.
one. Mind Control Delete.
Mind Control Delete, yeah.
Yeah. So what's really odd about it is that that game is the third game, like narratively, in Super Hot, and they've kind of messed up the marketing because Super Hot VR is Super Hot 2 because it takes place right after 1, and essentially is the main character undoing the events of 1.
Okay.
And what makes it even odd is that if anyone within the first the first 3 weeks of the game, Mind Control Delete being available on Steam, if you owned a copy of the first game, you get the third game for free.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's a
So if you
baffling business decision, dude. Because one, it's really cool to the fans.
Yes.
But 2, it's like, but I want to give you more money for making good stuff.
Yes.
It's a full game.
Your love of the game,
Yeah.
that's reward enough.
That's exactly what they said. Like, there's an FAQ, dude, where there one of the questions is why in terms of giving it for free, and it just says we just want to give to the fans who support it.
Jesus,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Those guys are
very
generous as fuck, dude. I'm sorry, Nick. Go ahead. I just had to jump in because it's wild.
No, I agree. It's crazy. That interview is crazy. It's also, I would argue, it's a triple whammy to anyone who owns solely VR and does not get it.
That's true.
So then I had a situation where I had friends who had VR on PC, and when I told them about that you get the third one for free if you own the first one, they decided, you know what, I'm not gonna buy 3 if they're gonna screw me over like that. So I'm gonna pirate it.
But dude, it's like you could have bought one and it was super cheap right before. It was like $5, I think.
So that's what I tried to say.
But no.
And
you would have had 2 full games.
You would have 2 full games. And you could have just gone back to 1. It's not as, again, the game is not as heavy on its narrative.
Yeah.
It's just something that's...
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, I was going to say, it's not as heavy as on its narrative. And the biggest issue 1 had was that it was short.
I was about to say, it takes like 3 hours. You can beat that thing.
Yeah.
If you're like decent and you're not even like good, but like if you can get the hang of it, like 3 hours, you can do it in one night.
Okay. So the biggest thing with 3 is that I'm so far, at least what I've read, I'm at the moment like 3/4 of the way done with the game. I am absolutely baffled they gave this away for free. There is so much content and so much like possibilities you can do with its gameplay. I'm blown away. Like, this is easily like what people wanted the first game to be.
Yeah. And
essentially it's a roguelike where you have a set of levels to just run through. And then they give you hearts, essentially. It used to be a one-hit kill, similar to Hotline Miami. But in this game they give you 3 hearts, like three hits you can take, within that set of levels. So if you get hit 3 times or 4, you end up it ends up resetting that set of levels.
Here, sorry to interrupt real quick. I'll be right back. Nick, you can keep going.
Oh, no worries. But I just got really into that, and also just, dude, the presentation is like on another level as well.
How would you
It
say the
takes
aesthetics are? What does it look like?
so if you so you know about the game, so you
Mhm.
know how it's essentially this feel and look of like like polymetric sharp angles.
Mhm.
Um, you have white background with red with sharp red. Kind of like Smash polygonal like
Mhm.
characters. And when you hit them, and when they kind of like break apart like porcelain or like glass, and it's really cool effect. So what they do with three is how to describe it. It's like when you saw Matrix One,
Mhm.
and essentially like it was very green and had like this constant green, black, um, some blue, like very piercing like colors and like palette. Like this is what the movie looks like.
Yeah.
This is what the other movies are gonna look like, except for certain aspects of it. So the moment you have like the AIs or the computers like talking to Neo,
Mhm.
there will be these bright blue or sharp red.
Okay.
So that's where they're going with Super Hot Mind Control Delete, where essentially there it's the game. The game is kind of like throwing a if you're like an addict, like essentially the game's a doctor who just throws the prescription at the addict and goes, "You know what? Fuck it. Here you go. You want your addiction? Here you go. We're gonna give you this. We're gonna give you that. I'll give you the needle. I'll give you the spoon." And that's essentially what this game is. Is like if the game is mocking you for having fun narratively.
I like that. I
So they're
like.
like, oh, and then like you get abilities called addict, addiction, shameful. You get logs from other players called good pet or good dog or obedience,
Okay.
and you get abilities within the game that are pretty incredible. There's one where you can deflect people's bullets that are shooting at you directly towards them.
Mhm.
And there's also one where if you deflect one bullet, deflects every other bullet ever fired within your range.
Okay. Okay.
And there's one where like you can throw your katana and then you can summon it back
Like the force.
like the force style, yeah, like a Jedi thing.
Okay.
And there's like a and there's one that's a charge where like you charge in like Wesker from Resident Evil directly towards them. And then they do a cool thing where they kind of just take advantage of the pure white palette of the game. So you have some enemies that have white bodies, but might have a red arm or red head or red like single leg, and that's where you have to hit.
Oh, so you okay? So it affects your play style essentially each time.
Yeah, and then there's some new enemies that are introduced that have red guns, where all the weapons you can use in the game are black, but any enemy that has a red weapon on them, it's essentially an extension of their body, so you can't use it.
Okay. Okay. Got you.
And then you have characters called the Wolf and I think the other one's called the Collector, where they're essentially red guys, but they have like disfigured heads shaped as like a dog.
Okay.
And then there's one guy who has like his head or like body is split in the middle with a piercing white like stripe, and they just can't be killed. You just have to defeat the other enemies as fast as you can until they get you.
Oh my god. Okay.
Because the dog one can teleport directly towards you, like your charge abilities. Essentially, they're using your abilities or anything you can do, like at yourself. So they also deflect your bullets. They also can throw their katanas through like objects and then straight towards you.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, there's just so much this game throws at you, and I'm just baffled that this was all free
Just being handed away essentially.
and handed away. Yeah, and I'm convinced you can play the first one and then the third one, because essentially the second game just undoes the actions of the first one, kind of like retcons it, and then uses that as a jumping point for the third one.
Okay.
But yeah, I just had so much fun with the game lately, and I'm looking forward to finishing it.
That's great, man. Okay. This is a
Yeah.
good this is a ringing endorsement for people to go out and give it a look.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And then another one is well, it came on Steam, so I I had to play it because I did end up finishing 3, and I also ended up looking up what happens in the answer for Persona 3. So I picked up
Oh, yeah.
Persona 4 Golden.
Mhm.
And before I get into Golden, I wanted to talk about like my views on Persona 3 here,
Okay, sure.
which is it's going to be very dated, but I already talked to them off mic, but I kind of like want to reiterate them here because wow, that's one of my favorite endings to any media ever.
Is it, dude?
Oh.
Oh my god.
That ending is legendary for a reason, man.
So the thing is, like the complaints with Persona 3, specifically FES, so the version for the PS2
Yeah.
when it came out in 2008, is completely valid. All the complaints, everything, any bad experience you can have will happen in the game. Yeah, forming personas is still really bad in Persona 3. Takes
Oh,
up
it
the
sure
most
is.
time. It's tedious.
It's random.
The worst of all, it's random.
The skills are random, yeah.
Skills are random, and there's also the issues of the downtime, and there's also issues of certain arcanas or certain characters or certain side stories that people are adamant do not go to this person, do not go to this arcana, or be worried that this one is very important, but the story is very bad and the character is very unlikable.
Oh, yeah. Ah. Hey, that Moon Arcana, dude.
Oh my god, he sucks. But um, I told Chris that it did feel like to me in 3 compared to 4 and 5, 3 has the biggest gap in quality. So you have
Yeah. The highest
yeah.
highs and the lowest lows.
essentially, like the biggest example is the music, right? So like the lows are not too low, but they're definitely not as consistent as 4 and 5.
Yeah.
But 3 still has some of my favorite tracks on that shit, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Like when you get to the top of Tartarus and you hear every single layer of music from every level of it hitting you at the same time, like
Yeah.
I get chills every time.
The way I describe that music is overall it's probably weaker than 4 and 5. However, the bangers on 3 are better than anything else, like
Yes,
in Persona.
easily. Like the fact that I'm blasting Burn My Dread and I still get chills every time I hear the drop.
Battle for
And-
Everyone's Souls.
Oh my god, dude. Okay. So everything from the ending for 3 I was completely blown away by.
Uh-huh.
It's specifically how they handled the characters kind of like realizing the gravity of the situation.
Oh, yeah.
That period of denial, right?
Uh-huh.
And then Nyx comes in, or rather the kid, I forgot his name.
The manifestation of Nyx, yeah.
Manifestation of Nyx comes in and explains, "Hey, either you all are gonna die, or you have to kill me, a child, to save everyone else. But no matter what choice you make, you are all going to die."
Yeah, you specifically.
Yeah, and he's pointing at the main character.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I forget his canon name. I think it's like Makoto something,
Or Ryubi, something like that.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
And essentially, what you end up getting is the main character is trying to quote unquote save the day, but quote unquote saving the day is
Minato Arisato.
Nato Nisato.
According to the manga, yeah.
Oh, that's true. That's true. It's on the manga. Same with the FAMC for PSP.
Yeah, Kana Asumi.
Kanasumi.
Oh, wait, no. Sorry, that's the person who portrayed him in the stage musical.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, did you know Laura Bailey voices the female protagonist in P3P,
Was not aware.
and Yuri Lowenthal's the main protagonist?
That I know.
Okay, yeah. All right. Anyway, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like, so when we get to the final boss, Ian, in that game,
Yeah.
I'm completely bummed out that I was spoiled on it before experiencing it, and that spoiler is what sold me on playing the game.
Yeah, that.
Oh, catch
So
22.
Yeah.
Yeah, catch 22 essentially. So I kind of had it coming to myself. So when I experienced it, I was like, okay, so it took me like 3 hours, 3.5
To what?
to finish that fight.
It's
The
a
fight,
long ass
like-
fight.
Yeah.
And
But I'll
it's
tell you right
hard.
now, I did not know that 3 hours flew by until I looked at my clock.
Yeah, because there's so much happening.
So much is happening. I was so emotionally invested
Yeah.
in everything in front of me.
Yeah.
And God damn, like I'm sorry, like it's just so cool. Like
Yeah.
it's such a great idea, and I'm blown away the other games hasn't like done anything like that.
Uh-huh. Should I explain it to Ian? Do you want me to explain it to you? What that ending, what that final boss fight is?
Give me a general idea. What is the big taste? What's the big taste?
Without, I get like, for this fucking over a decade old game, where I think it's like 15 years actually. Without spoiling the last boss fight too much. Essentially, there's a progression in that boss fight where it matters that you played the entire game, like, and the most important thing the most time you've spent doing, the one thing in the game you spent the most time doing, is what that entire boss fight's all about.
Okay.
Yeah.
I follow you.
Yeah. Yeah, I could always explain it in more detail because it's the coolest fucking thing anyone's ever. It's like,
Okay.
no other boss fight in Persona touches it. Nothing is as good as it.
Okay.
Like,
So-
not even close. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, and absolutely. And I was gonna get to one of the big issues with the game, especially FES on the PS2, is that it was extra content was added for the PlayStation version.
The answer.
The answer, which is a separate campaign right after the main campaign. It's what you play right after because it takes place a few days, or I'm sorry, 3 months after the events of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tough to call it an epilogue because, well, it's kind of mixed. Like it is an epilogue in that characters have certain closure, but that closure comes in a length of gameplay that isn't really worth it because it
sure isn't.
It's conclusions that you've already assumed or like you've drawn like, oh yeah, no duh, like that's your takeaway. Like I assume that's what already happened. I assume that's what happened. Like
Yeah.
Right.
It's explaining the obvious to you.
essentially, yeah. And that's not worth 40 hours.
Yeah. It's like a 40-hour epilogue. And it's so not worth it.
It really isn't.
That other, oh god, not Aegis, but the other robot. That design's cool. It's cool.
It is cool.
That's cool. Also,
Yeah.
it sucks because since there's no name for the protagonist, they're always talking about him, but they always just call him or like that guy.
Which makes you sound like Voldemort.
You sound like a crazy person, whatever. Because it's soap opera-y at that point. It's like him,
Yeah.
you know. By the way, his name is Makoto Yuki, is the canon name. Minato Arisato is the manga name.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it is interesting.
So it is.
That's why I said
So
it.
No, that's why
Yeah,
I'm saying
absolutely.
it. No, that's why I'm like, yeah.
yeah. So so all that being said, I
Uh-huh.
started Persona 4 Golden because Atlas released a port for PC.
That's right.
I did.
No longer trapped on the Vita.
No longer trapped on
I
the
can
Vita.
throw my Vita out.
Yeah. And
I'm not gonna throw it anyway.
so I'll just say where I am in story wise, just before I go on to like my opinions of it so far.
Okay. Yeah, where are you?
So-
What's the month?
So story wise, I am in the dungeon rescuing Kanji.
Oh, you're still there? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a long dungeon. I remember that one in particular.
Yeah, what's funny is that Yukiko's it's considered the longest.
Yeah. It's the hardest boss fight because it's so early on and you only have 3 people in the team,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
And it's for real.
Yeah. So right off the bat, gameplay wise, man, thank God for those quality of life.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Jumping from 3, or like if you jump from 1 to 3 and then 4 is like
Oh
especially
yeah,
Golden,
good luck
it's
playing
like,
1 and 2
oh,
nowadays, dude.
Oh, it's unplayable.
1 and 2, like it's like they actively hate you. It's like it's
Oh, man.
just oh god. Yeah, that's why I think I tell people like because these stories really don't matter too much in terms of order because they're so
Yeah.
isolated. That's just nice little callbacks that happen.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's the gameplay
Mhm.
that I would tell people that's why you want to start at P3 because once you hit P4 Golden, there's no going back.
I agree. I felt it.
Yeah, there's no going back.
Right.
All the problems in P3 would be glaring and almost and like frustrating. And
Oh,
just straight
yeah.
up not fun.
And what made it like really apparent was, of course, besides all the Velvet Room like quality you get now,
Yeah.
in P4 Golden, it's also, I think I told Chris, where so far it feels to me that 4 is the most consistent in its quality, from the quality of characters, from the quality of its overarching story, and then like gameplay wise.
Yeah.
Like overall, it's been consistently like great and like fantastic. And I am starting to see why it's considered like one of the best games like ever.
Oh yeah, it's what it in if I had to rank them, it's up there for like top 5 RPGs of all time.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, like it's also a bit jarring to me how different the tone is in 4 compared to the first 3.
Oh
'Cause
yeah.
the first 3 was huge, like existentialism and
Yeah.
huge fears of
They
death.
summoned their personas by shooting themselves.
in
the
3.
I do remember that. I do.
Yeah.
Remember that.
Yeah, and then so 4 and your protagonist, the stakes aren't as high when he enters like the new city or like the small town of Inaba compared to 3, where 3 is like, hey, people are dying, we gotta go right now.
Yeah, we gotta go. Go.
Yeah. So yeah, so far I'm really digging it. I'm really enjoying it. I'll definitely have more to say story wise when I get like to the meat of it, because I do feel like I'm still in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because it is a very long game.
Here, Nick, I'll throw you a little bone for P4, since you're a JoJo fan.
Okay.
The director has specifically said that Part 4 of JoJo is a huge inspiration for Persona 4.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't it kind of spoil the entire plot then?
No.
True.
No. I'll let you know right now. No.
There seems to be a Moida.
There seems to be a Moida. A Moida. Yeah, anything else, man?
So game wise, trying to. Yeah, so far that's kind of it. Like on my own, there's of course all the streaming stuff we've done. A Deadly Premonition 2, which we've recently done. And
Holy
then
shit, dude, that fucking game. That fucking
yeah,
game.
I'll say for you to talk about. So I'll just talk about FF7R from my view.
Oh yeah. What are you thinking so far?
Yeah, so far gameplay wise, it took a while to get used to, but I'm really digging the system. I think it's very satisfying
Yeah, once
when
you
you
get the
pull off.
flow, then it starts coming on.
Oh yeah, and yeah, overall presentation, I'm more than like blown away by,
Yeah.
especially the music. The music is really
Oh,
great, especially
fucking 10 on 10, dude. I'm so glad they got the FF14 guy on there.
yeah, and it's
Oh my
more than well
gosh.
deserved. Like
Yeah. Yeah,
and
for Ian, if you cuz I know you've kind of you probably don't know like the FF14 music cuz it's an MMO. But if you ever get a chance, man, that music is
You know,
stellar.
I'm familiar with some of their compositions. I would be able to recognize the tunes. So
Okay. Cuz
I,
FF14 is some of the best music in Final Fantasy. Like
okay.
like and the fact that they had him do a couple of songs on there, including the best song in the game.
yes,
Like, oh, thank God.
I can also concur that it is the best song in the game, and it's the only one he arranged.
Yeah, it's the only one he like made from scratch and everything.
Yes. Oh,
Well,
sorry.
not made
Yeah,
from
that's
scratch, but he arranged and put everything together.
yeah. I bet he arranged a lot of the certain scores for Seven,
Yeah,
but the one he like personally, yeah, composed and like written from the ground up for the instruments. Yeah, that was him.
yeah, that was it.
Only song he did,
Yeah, and for
and
those who played FF7 should know.
they know because it's very, at least so far, it's been like adamantly like this is the best song
Yeah,
or this moment at least. But yeah, moment to moment, I'm really digging it. The retelling of story, they made a lot of the weird parts of it, somewhat make
oh,
more sense, but they're still weird and uncomfortable.
yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I again like I guess I'll finish remake when
Yeah.
at least the story will be finished when I'm 60 or 70.
Hey, what a good replacement for that hot tub scene, right?
Oh,
Oh my God. Yeah. I was watching you guys play.
sure
That
was.
fun. That was a fun time.
The dance,
Oh yeah.
the dance
Oh
is
my God.
amazing.
Dan, I love that was
I
great.
gotta find out who they got to choreograph that shit.
Okay, but Hell House though, like
Hell House! Ah!
beginning to
That
beginning to
boss
end,
fight, dude!
boss fight's incredible. One of the best I've seen so far. Holy shit.
That fight is so amazing, dude. Like,
Like moment to moment, like
Yeah.
every phase of that boss fight, my jaw was dropped. Like they did
Yeah.
so much with it.
fucking
For
Hell
such a
House.
weird like villain.
For a weird enemy that they brought back and made a whole spectacle out of.
Yeah.
Because why does it exist? No one
Oh
knows.
man. But yeah, the voice acting is fantastic. They got an awesome cast for it.
Who made it
Um,
like that?
Oh yeah.
It's a
I- I-
robot haunted house.
Yeah, so I told Chris my favorite voice acting so far is still Barrett.
Barrett's
Sure.
probably the best character in that game. Hands down.
Like, yeah, especially like his speeches he gives as Avalanche.
He is by far the most interesting character.
Like 10 out of 10. Yeah, especially his overarching thing and how subtle like when he sees his daughter and like
Yeah.
when he's in the bar was
Yeah.
great. Cloud's still as awkward as ever, which is great.
Oh, it's great, yeah. He's not a cool guy. He's just
Yeah.
he's a fucking dork.
Yeah.
He's a fucking weirdo. And you're like, why do you like this?
You know why.
Yeah, you know why.
Well, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, man. I mean, like, you can catch us on Twitch as we keep talking about it as Nick goes through it.
Yeah.
So hopefully
then-
this Sunday we should be good to stream it anyway. So this episode's gonna come out tomorrow. I'm gonna.
Oh,
review it
okay.
Okay.
so.
Nice.
Yeah. Anything else, man?
So, I'm trying to think of ones that I have put enough time in to discuss. I mean, there's stuff. Most of it has been stuff I just been touching or things that I think I haven't
Yeah.
like really sat down. Like big ones are, of course, I started playing Killer Instinct Online again. So
Yeah. That game's
And
amazing.
y-
I don't know what else to say to people anymore.
yeah, there's
I know
nothing else
we
to say.
don't-
Okay.
I know we don't usually do this. My suggestion is if you've got something that you think you're going to be hot and ready to have a take on next month. Give us a tease now. Say like, oh, I'm doing this,
Yeah.
and then next month we'll follow up on.
Well,
the
that's
thing.
kind of what are we looking forward to
That's true.
has turned into. So you can just save
Yeah.
it for that, Nick, if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll save it for that. Another one is, speaking of FF14, I started a FF14 account, but
Yeah.
I'm very.
But you've
fresh
just
and new.
touched the. You haven't even like
No,
gone through the scratch and sniff.
no. And then is one game I want to shout out because it's such an interesting idea, and I really do want to try to like talk about as much as I can on here.
Yeah.
So so Chris and I were trying out this fighting game, Ian, where essentially it's a shoot 'em up, but both characters are shmup characters, and you're essentially throwing bullet hell patterns at each other, like across the screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's a fighting game.
Yeah, it's called
Okay.
Maiden. Yeah, it's called Maiden and Spell.
Yeah.
It's essentially a 2-man project, and god dang, like it's just such an interesting idea, and it was actually really fun to play. They did a
it's
really
really
good job,
fun.
like making everything distinct. There's great references to previous shmups.
And Bullet Hells.
And Bullet Hells. Yeah, I mean, I would honestly put that as a good like a good entryway for shmups, like just get an idea of the feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you're competing with another person, so it isn't as daunting as an AI in a game.
Yeah.
Because in a game you're trying to figure out a computer and their pattern, but if you have a person next to you and they're trying to figure out too, then it's like an easier way to get the flow, you know.
Yeah. I dig. Get you.
Yeah. So I'll definitely get more on that and go online because it has rollback netcode GGPO. Same with Skullgirl, same with Killer Instinct.
Yeah, that's true.
There's plenty of tweets and like videos of people playing across the world, from Europe to Australia and Australia to the US and Japan, playing online for Maiden Spell, and you know the frame delay is literally at one single digit, like 1 to 2.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah. So I definitely want to try to do that. And then another game I went back to and finished like for myself was Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance.
Yeah.
And holy shit, man, that game's still great.
Yeah. It's fucking
It's
awesome.
beautifully done. It's a great labor of love that he did.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I did talk about that previous podcast, so I'll just cap it by saying I went through the VR missions, and it was really satisfying, at least to myself, to like finish them because I never did when it came out on PS3. But oof, man, those last 5 they take a lot. They take a lot out of you.
Oh yeah.
Mentally, right? Like by the end, I was just exhausted. Like Jesus Christ, this is just an endurance test at the end because they threw so many enemies at you.
Yeah.
It's not even skill. Like I was just exhausted. But I think that's it game wise. Movie wise, Chris and I sat down and watched the Lonely Island movie.
Oh,
the one by Andy
Popstar?
Samberg. Popstar.
Never
yeah.
Stop, Never Stopping.
I love that movie.
Yo, that movie was robbed for not doing that well in the theaters.
Yeah, I'm bummed out actually.
The movie's fucking hilarious.
That movie is. There's just so many good jokes in that movie.
Just minute to minute laughs.
The weird Amish scene.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What's the song that sticks out for you guys most? Pick your best song.
Oh, the song that stuck out.
The Osama one's good.
The Not Gay one.
Not Gay is also good. Not gay. Not gay.
The one Seal sings and then gets bitten by the wolf.
Yeah. That's like
him howling. Oh yeah.
We almost paused the movie because like both of us were just like in tears. Like them getting Seal to howl like a wolf. It's crazy what they get some of those people to do, man. Like,
yeah,
fucking who were the rappers again? Isn't Nas in it?
Yeah, Nas is in it.
Nas
I
is in
think are
it.
the Beastie Boys in that movie?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, it was Nas, it was DJ Khaled,
Yeah.
it was Snoop Dogg, it was
Snoop Dogg
oh
only
yeah,
appears like for a second
with his camera crew, with his camera crew.
with his own show.
Yeah, surprise, Snoop
Um,
Dogg.
no, there was it Mad Lib? No, not Mad Lib.
Oh, it was Ti.
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 Oh no,
Ti was in it.
Danger Mouse.
Oh yeah, Danger Mouse. Was in
Seeing
it,
Danger
T.I.
Mouse in it, I was like, whoa, what? Like, what is that? The only time I've ever seen him in a movie?
I mean, he produced and arranged like people's childhoods at
Yeah.
this point.
Oh yeah, no, that's why I'm like, Danger Mouse has always been in the back, like kind of in the back of making everything,
Hmm.
except for his own like stuff that he put out.
Yeah.
I think that definitely a lot of his work is like gave Adult Swim a bigger platform when
Oh,
they
yeah.
were just starting out. You know, like,
He's one of the best like producers like ever.
yeah,
I'd argue, but it was just so weird seeing him in it because I'm so used to him being like in the back, you know,
yeah,
just never
dig
coming
it.
up front.
yeah.
So that was weird. Anyway, that movie's phenomenal. That movie's fucking. There's like a 5-second Weird Al cameo, and he's not even
Yeah.
dressed as Weird Al. He's just like in this horror like makeup.
Yeah.
That looks horrendous.
Yeah.
God, dude, yeah, all the TMZ bits are fucking amazing
golden material.
with Eric Andre, Chelsea Peretti.
Barnett, the fucking like 6 big gulps in his straw.
Taped together. So
Yeah.
you know, I never
pretty great.
graduated high school. I never graduated middle school. You know, I think what we should do is give me a photo of Justin Timberlake leaving a spa and looking not great. Oh god, dude, that movie. Yeah, it's a shame that movie didn't do as well as it did.
It's really a beautiful piece of writing and performance. It's Jean Garofalo's in that movie too. I feel like she's like one of the talking heads early on.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, like Sarah Silverman, it's star-studded, it's comedy, but like everyone's utilized extremely well.
agreed. Yeah.
It's not just like having them in there for having them in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the best comedies I've seen in a long time, especially like contemporary stuff. But yeah,
What else? What
else,
else have you been seeing?
I mean, there's a lot of it stuff I watched with Chris, so I'll say that for him.
okay.
I think that's it for TV and show wise. Book wise, I'm still going through 1Q84. I'm on a third book. I'm on a third book now, or the third part of it.
Okay, so you're past the
And-
halfway point.
Yeah.
How would you say it's structurally? Does it have structural shifts between the books? In your opinion, do you feel like those segmentations are noticeable in that way, or how? What do you think?
Yeah, so like Murakami, he has the parting storylines, and then they come together towards the end or like the final act.
Yeah.
Especially in like the biggest one is obviously Hardboiled Wonderland, and then there's a Kafka on the Shore, which is people, at least in my opinion, it seems like the biggest one people gravitate towards the two narratives like coming at the end, like connecting plot story wise.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, 1Q84 is probably the most. I wouldn't say wordy, but it's definitely like going to a lot of detail for very small things.
Do you?
Hey,
But-
Ian, real quick. Sorry, I gotta ask this now. What time do you have to go?
I was hoping that we could hit before 7.
Before
So-
7? Oh, okay.
So
thought you
like
need-
6:30 would be preferable.
Okay, I thought you needed to be out at 5:30, and I was like, oh shit, we better. Like,
yeah.
Nick, I know
like-
you got a lot to say, but. Okay, no,
looks
so
good,
we're
and
good
that's
then. We're good. No, we're good. Keep going, Nick. Sorry about that.
Um, yeah, I mean, I know the. I mean, I've seen all the. I mean, there's the famous like critiques of the of 1Q84 where, like you said, some people didn't like the structure or like it was kind of like jutting out too much between the characters.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I guess because like their subject matters are very separate and their tones like it's very like at least in the beginning it's very like separate.
Yeah.
And, like you have
So
one character. Okay,
go ahead. Sorry.
I would say like there's the main character Tango, um, the essentially the adult male who is a ghostwriter and is part of a con for a writing competition with the high school girl, and then between that you then have Aomame, who is essentially a serial murderer who has like a very tragic backstory and relation with men, and uses that as a way to kind of like act out her frustration, and then she has like the issues with the women's shelter and kind of like her plot of assassinations with a cult member. And yeah, it's very jutting at first. I'm not too like I'm not too like put off by it by some people. I guess it just comes down to expectations versus like what he put out before.
Right. So what I was gonna ask is, do you think that it's overwritten in any way, in any part? Do you think like there's comes a point for some authors who, you know, garner a great deal of success, and suddenly their editors are afraid of them, you know? And I'd say I would accuse a handful of writers that I like very much of having got to places like that in their career where, yeah, maybe they could have taken some more constructive cutting, or do you feel like it's ultimately justifiable and serviceable throughout?
I mean, objectively, I can see some points where it came across like, or at least it came across to me as him just enjoy. It came across as him writing it and enjoying like going to these details.
Yeah.
But there's that consideration of like, well, how does this read? Like, how does this read to a consumer versus someone just enjoying going into details about certain occupations or jargon? The worst, obviously, is Moby Dick, but
Sure. And not
um,
that
go
it's
ahead.
a bad piece. I'm not saying that, but you know, this is a fair criticism to have.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah, and
But
and
it's
I
so
agree.
weird. It's so weird to frame a reader as like a consumer,
Yeah,
as like, because it's always weird when writing a book, right? Because are you writing a product or are you writing a story? Is the story the product? An editor and a publisher will always view the story as a product to be sold, whereas a reader will hopefully, or at least like a lot of the times, uh, write it to be read. You know,
Yeah.
where it's a
yeah.
labor of love. But at the same time, a writer's got to eat, man. So like,
No, I agree.
it's that's tough. It's a weird one to be like, oh, I should make this easy reading. I guess it all depends on what you're going for, right?
Well, the other thing I'm thinking about is like, what is it serving to what you just said? Like you said, it seems like he's enjoying what he's writing, and I mean that's good.
Self-indulgent
That's fine.
maybe.
Exactly. But are you serving a purpose, or are you just having fun?
Yeah.
Because you know, like I'll read a book that's 1,000 pages long, but you know, it depends like the economy of what you're using that space for. It's not a question of numbers. It's a question of how are those numbers served. I think we've all read a book that's 200 pages and is too long. And
Oh, dude, I've read short stories from people that are 10 pages. I'm like, this is too long.
Yeah.
This is this is. But at the same time, it's like you still want the author to have fun with it, because that's where you start finding the love.
Yeah, exactly.
Like from them.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a tough call. Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to get that thought out there.
No, that's a really good point, and I guess it makes it tough for me to be critical. How do I say it? Like, because I'm coming from whenever I talk about my journey through Murakami's work, I'm coming from it like not as analytical, like more just like more like a personal or like a very
Yeah.
gut feeling approach to it.
Mhm.
So I can't really give too many like objective critiques about its writing.
Yeah.
It's more of just if whether or not I think uh, whether or not I just enjoyed it or whether or not I think it served a purpose in certain parts.
Yeah.
Like I can point out some of his novellas. There were some parts I wasn't too keen on, or things that I think weren't very necessary to bring up,
Uh-huh.
or scenes that I felt like were kind of stretched out too long. But
Hmm.
I think the critiques for 1Q84 being too wordy. Yeah, I do see it, but I don't think it's as big as a concern for me, given I enjoy when he does that. But
Yeah,
I
thank
mean,
God
so
it's enjoyable.
yeah,
thank,
And it,
thank God he's a good writer, so
so
yeah,
here's the other thing. Like, there's also subversions that work.
yeah.
And like some authors can do it and some can't. And I mean, I guess that's more so like a matter of practical taste.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
um, okay, so the writer Daniel Handler is like very well known for epic simile. Like his
Yeah.
favorite kind is to essentially tell you a 3-paragraph short story that is a digression,
Yeah.
and then he'll weave it back. But the thing is, like, he weaves it back in. He
Yeah, I
makes
used
it
to do that.
towards account.
Yeah.
But like, if you are, a writer who isn't using that subversion well, then you're just breaking a rule for no reason, and it's bad writing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's there are people who subvert these expectations of what is the stylistic norm,
Mhm.
and they do wonderful things, but you have to be a competent enough writer to understand what it is you're doing, to say, yeah, I know that's a rule, but watch me do this thing that's a little that's outside the realm, that's different.
You gotta, you gotta know the rules in order to break them.
Yeah, absolutely.
As
I
with any
absolutely-
trade or skill.
because you can't just go in, gung ho and say, well, why not? Like, he does this
Yeah.
flaunting explicit, he does this, and then it's like, well, he worked very hard for a very long time on developing this aspect of his style and
Uh-huh.
this aspect of his cadence. So if you just go in and break all the rules, it's just going to be inconceivable garbage that nobody can follow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So Ian, my question to you is, do you think that the situation of the editor being afraid of the writer because of their success,
Yeah.
or because of the because of the sex of it, the success of it, they're afraid to critique it or like make adjustments?
That's
Oh,
obviously like a case by case basis. Like that all depends
Yeah.
on the relationship between the writer and the editor.
I agree. So the one that I can point out to as like really blatant would be coming circle back to Stephen King.
Yeah.
He pumped out like 5 novels that were all smash hits back to back in the 70s.
Yes.
He did Carrie, The Shining, Salem's Lot, The Stand.
Uh-huh.
They all became movies. They all became bestsellers, and he became like a crazy rich guy.
Yeah.
And then you get a handful of his work. It actually didn't happen right away. I would say that happened kind of closer to the mid 80s, but he had about 5 or 6 novels that, if he had maybe drafted it a few more times, it would have been cleaner. If he had, I do think that he genuinely just had an editor who, now let me say this is completely within my understanding of it. This isn't based on an interview or anything like that.
Okay.
But I can very clearly in my mind think, okay, so this guy just wrote it's the mid 80s, so like let's say 12 novels that are like bestsellers, everybody loves them, and he's super popular. Am I gonna really tell him how to make his book better?
Yeah.
And then suddenly you start to doubt yourself, and you think like, well, he's a superstar writer. How do I know what's good and bad? Maybe I don't know what good and bad is. And then you suddenly are divorced from. Now, this is also I'm also making the assumption that this is an editor who does not have a long-standing relationship with a writer. And
I was about to say, yeah, like how personal is that relationship,
Right. Now, see, like, because some editors and writers kind of become symbiotic and they get long-term relationships.
Will Stephen King even listen if the editor says,
right?
what's up with this?
Yeah.
That card turns itself on. Why?
Why is it like the Green Goblin?
Why is it like the Green Goblin?
What do you mean, do it yourself? He did that cocaine with himself.
I was literally just about to say this. This is also the cocaine and liquor days.
I was about to say, yeah, you're talking about the crazy, where even he says, yeah, dude, it was like a blur.
Well, yeah, when he was out of his mind, he was just going to like parties and going hard and yeah. So, I mean, so I have no way of knowing what may or may not be the case, but I do think that fame has a very dangerous effect on any artist, because you're then taking in a kind of removed level of understanding yourself on top of everything else.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. You're like, as an artist, as a musician, as a writer, whatever, you understand you as best you do. Whatever your relationship with yourself is, whatever your level of internal barometer for you is. But when you then get to a point where you're I don't know, like Stephen King kind of famous, or where you get to a point where you're I don't know, fill in the blank really, any kind of artist who kind of blows up and gets let's say several back-to-back hits.
Yeah.
You're really going to do yourself a disservice if you don't have a way to find someone who will tell you no, or tell you try again, because then you are in an echo chamber of never doubting yourself.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the opposite problem that I think most artists have. Most artists are starting at a baseline of, I don't even know if this is good. Does anybody like this? Et cetera, et cetera. And then you get to a whole other thing, which, it must be a nice problem to have. I think a lot of us would feel, but it's also a very lonely feeling, I imagine, because there's only a handful of people who get that kind of attention. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a musician who has something like that.
No.
But someone who's just had so much consistent positive things. Old Paul McCartney. An example of that is.
I mean, yeah, you can do that. You can bring up certain like guitarists that were very adamant to have it a certain way. So any engineer that came in was not allowed to really do much except just tell them it's good.
Yeah, just to be there and to record it.
Some engineers, especially with musicians. I mean, a lot of people compare engineering to musicians as bartenders to customers, or like known regulars. We're essentially just babysitting them.
Yeah.
Where essentially you're kind of like, you can't say no. You can't obviously no because they're giving you money and it's your job.
Right.
But you know that some of the behavior or things you have to do within your occupation would hurt the person in the long run, or it'll, like you said, it'll give them so much positivity that any critique is like
impossible.
Yeah, impossible. Yeah, but I don't think that's what applies to Murakami with 1Q84. It's wordy, and I do think sometimes it's the most subversion sometimes, but when those subversions happen in 1Q84, at least to me, it makes sense that the character would have such a subversion. at least the way they're written, because thankfully his characters are so likable and so interesting and so unique to like see and like explore within his stories to me that I don't have a problem with it. But I know some people may not if they do not like the character or don't find these kinds of versions interesting.
But then again, we're just circling back to taste, and that's not
Yeah.
not something you can help. Like,
Yeah.
At the end of the day, who knows?
like, I
Is
mean,
our conclusion.
No, let's go to your week. No, forget me.
It's
Yeah.
a case-by-case basis, says Storyteller Cast.
Yeah.
all right.
I
Chris.
took too much time. Go ahead.
Do you think?
No, I'm sorry, but it's just like, man, this is a really good conversation, but that is where it ends up, doesn't it?
Movies aren't real. Dogs can talk.
Dude, I stand by those last two cracked after hours are so fucking funny for that.
Oh my god, yes. By the way, did you guys catch the stream that they did?
No, I haven't yet. I didn't get to see it live. I was at work at the time.
It's really nice. I'm proud of them. Really like it.
I
Really
have
good.
to watch it. But yeah,
also-
that whole fucking lie. Michael, is your theory that 9/11 changed everything?
Didn't it?
Yeah, but didn't it though? or Daniel's Daniel, is your thesis today that movies aren't real? Yeah, but you see,
Yeah, but
there's an in-universe reason.
Huh.
really quick, go around the horn. Let's all name ways 9/11 changed everything.
I'll start hand sanitizer. No. Okay. No, I'm sorry, Nick. What? Anything else to your week, man, or to your month?
No, actually, so far that's kind of it.
Okay. All right. Then I'll take the reins, I guess. Let's see. What did I do? Well, one of the big things is I watched all of She-Ra on Netflix.
Oh wow. Okay, how was that?
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I watched all of it.
Oh, you've watched all of it. Okay, so Nick, you haven't watched it, right?
I have not at all.
That show's fantastic.
It's really good.
It's really, really fucking good. The characters have depth to them. They're all still likable. At first it's like, oh shit, like war. They're showing some of the more real aspects of war. That kind of goes by the wayside. A little bit towards the
It
end.
goes more intimate. It's more about intimacy than kind of society.
Yeah,
the
at some point it's just about the characters' relations to each other.
But season 1 through I'd say most of parts of 3 is still about like how does this affect culture or society?
Yeah. But then 3 and 4, season 3 and 4 in particular, are amazing. The Mermista detective episode was like one of my favorites.
Yeah,
That
that's
whole
fun.
shtick was fucking. And every episode is like feels like it has a ton in it, and adds so much.
It's got good texture to it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Every minute feels absolutely like, I don't want to say necessary, but like impactful, whether it be long term or short term.
Yeah, I think it has good stakes, and it keeps everybody. Every decision should have weight and should have repercussions, no
Yeah.
matter what it is.
Shadow Weaver is a fascinating character.
Do you mind if I ask you some questions about? It's not necessarily spoilers, but it is
Sure,
about
go for it.
End of the show stuff.
Yeah. I have
So-
one critique, and it's about like, well, I have like 2 critiques, but I want to get your opinion on one of them. Because
Okay.
maybe I'm just overthinking it.
All right.
But
So-
go for it, whatever you got.
So one thing I was thinking about. So I think that the whole arc for Catra is excellent, lovely. I love that. Love
Yes.
the story.
Although I have a big caveat, but go ahead.
I like the idea, of really exploring the way that like abuse shapes your ability to think about yourself and other people.
Yeah, and kind of the cycle of abuse that comes from it.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, exactly. You model all the behaviors that you are taught, and that
Uh-huh.
is those are the only tools you have to express. So that type loved it.
Oh yeah.
Loved all of it.
What abuse does to someone who is inherently selfish and doesn't get a chance to learn out of it, like
I mean,
makes it kind of harder for someone to no longer be selfish.
exactly. I mean, and I guess like that. If you want to put a neat lesson bow on it, it would be like, well, you have to be the person who's going to put in the work to be the loving person to at least give an example. But it's
Yeah.
not like, but it's
Which is
also
why
not-
Bo's like a hero, because he is probably the best person on that show.
he's a good boy.
We're and like saying the pretty much the thesis of the show about people is that friendship takes fucking work, man.
Yeah,
People
That's true.
have shit that they're going through.
and they got their own thing that doesn't have anything
Yeah.
to do with you. And
Yeah,
that-
but at the same time, it affects everyone around them,
that's true.
and they have to realize that as well.
That's true.
Like, especially when you're all trying to work together in a war, it's gonna, and everyone has to share the weight. If you're bringing that much weight to it, it's just gonna add more to the, to the journey.
So here's my plot line. So Entrapta as a
Mhm.
character. So Entrapta as a character has a honestly very, very empathetic. You get where she's coming from.
Yeah.
Where she goes from
Entrapped is another like one of my favorite characters in that. I think she's fascinating as well.
goes from essentially like villain to
Goes from literal chaos neutral,
Yeah.
to like finally being chaotic good.
but she, feels betrayed by her friends.
Yeah.
And then she joins with Hordak and then does war crimes.
Mhm.
And then you have all the stuff that kind of builds up where she eventually breaks away from that and so on and so forth. But that's like a season. I think she has a solid season where she's doing evil things.
Yeah, it's a full season. I think it's all of 2.
And so I don't necessarily have a problem with her narrative. And I want to talk a little bit about that in a minute. But
Yeah.
her as character. At the end of the last episode,
Uh-huh.
you then have her returning to the fold. And then they just kind of address that there's one of the Hordaks that are still around. And now
Yeah.
there needs to be like a some kind of mending of the ways made.
Yeah.
My opinion is that exists in there because it's a children's show and you have to have a
Yeah.
clean ending.
Specifically the original Hordak, right?
It's the original Hordak, the one that
Yeah.
kidnapped them as children. And
Yeah,
made
who
them-
the fuck knows what happens after? Because that dude, that dude is a dictator essentially.
And he never really. He learned empathy for one person. They don't expand on it past that.
No.
He learned empathy from one person, and then after that is essentially put in a coma, and then doesn't
Something
come back
like that.
into the story. Well, because like the super dictator knocks him out and is like,
Yeah.
I'm the real guy.
Takes
and
him
then
over.
Takes him over. He pops back in at the end. So
Yeah, we have no idea.
the show clearly frames it. I think like one of the characters is like, so is he good now? Are we supposed to be his friend now? And I was like, yeah, mermaid. That's a good question.
Yeah, Mermista, like that's why I like her so much too. Is she has more of like a realistic or down to earth than some of these people like the war criminal over there. The guy who's literally burned
He
villages.
stole the children, murdered people, and he stole children and made them child soldiers.
In the name, in the name of his own like
Weird fascistic world order. Okay, I'm glad. You seem to be on the same page as me with
so
that.
so two critiques that kind of goes to 2 critiques I have in this, and the ones that are at least at the forefront of my mind. One, I think that show needed 5 more minutes at the end, just as a little epilogue. You kind of get it in the visions
Mhm.
of Adora and what's
Mhm.
going on. By the way, love that everyone calls out, hey, you can't just keep running into shit. Because, like, you know, we're all fighting a war. But it does take her a while to kind of learn that, and it's a little frustrating. But she has really good reasons, or at least real good. There's real good reasons for a character to do that.
Yes.
I just think it needed more of a denouement to use a fancy film term. A little bit of epilogue, a little bit of an epilogue to what happens with everyone. You know, with confessing loves and like.
Well, because we didn't really get a lot of the thing that saves the day is lesbians, but we didn't get to really
it's love, dude. It's love and friendship save the day.
Love.
And you can read more about it in the Bible.
And I'm not critiquing the ending. I actually think the ending's great. My only complaint is that it just needs like 5 more minutes to.
Would you say so? Because I agree with you. I agree with you certainly in the regard that I would have liked to see what a story that involves just Ketra and Adora being a couple, and going through a story together. Because we kind of just have them. Well, they get together, and then there's just so much plot and action that we have to get through to get to the end of the thing that we're just kind of left with. Well, yeah, they're together now.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying I don't even need a sequel. Because I don't need them to tell me everything. I just need to know this is where it's going to start heading, right?
What would you say if I told you Netflix is shopping to do a movie with the creator?
Wait, they're shopping what?
They'd like to do a movie, like a one-off.
A movie? I don't know what that fucking movie would be, dude. Because like
it would be like a 90-minute thing. I don't know.
What's the conflict? It would have to be a conflict that is alone to that movie. You know.
I mean, it probably wouldn't. Well, I don't know the full answer. My part of my brain.
Right. Like yeah. No, my thing is like, what would that be? Yeah.
Probably resolving the last threads of like what the last Hordak is. Like, oh, we're not his friend. No, he was a war criminal.
Yeah.
We should really take care of that.
Yeah. But see, that's because when they make that movie, they're gonna have to create like its own villain or its own big problem. And then where my critique is like, no, I just kind of need to know what happens to the characters at the end. Like it would be, it's more of a nice to know, I guess, you know?
Yeah.
As opposed to there's a big thread that needs to be closed.
I get you.
Because Hordak, that's a problem.
That is a problem.
That is a big problem. But I don't think it calls for a movie. And again, I think that's what a movie would be like after. Who knows? They could surprise me. They obviously got good writers on there, so. And really good art, really good animation, really good choreography too.
Yeah, I agree.
Like it's an all-around solid package. So kind of going on to my second critique though, we're talking about Hordak and War Criminal. Catra is also a war criminal.
Yeah.
And she does pay like a lot of price, but at the same. So here's the thing: they never show anyone being murdered because it's a kid show.
Sure. And
once you do that, you've drawn a line that obviously the show can't go back to. Having said that, villages are burned down. There are refugees. Towns have been taken over in a police state.
Mm-hmm.
Although that part's not entirely her fault, but she did contribute in some way.
Yes.
But she leads her and Adora's conflict starts with her riding a tank burning down a village.
That does happen.
And and the most you get out of that, and I guess it's a very Western thing in terms of like idea of justice and whatever, is that oh my god, what's her name? The 10-year-old who uses ice.
Oh yeah. Ice Princess.
Ice Princess, who takes a big character change once she shows up.
Very drastic change from 1 to 2. Yeah.
And then to be fair, she's 10, and her character introduces she's 10 who has to act like an adult.
Yeah.
So that's probably her cutting loose. You can put those together, I guess.
Sure.
but she gets a really good punch in. So much, in fact, that it's like slowed down and it's animated. And you're like, holy shit, that's a real solid punch for like
To the big rager.
for this kid show.
So-
But it's one of the things like she's also got like war crimes to pay for, and
That-
it's like fine that and I'm actually with everyone who's still like wary of her,
Mhm.
as you should be.
Mhm.
Having said that, I guess Scorpia is also in some way, but Scorpia is so innocent that and is actually like a child of war.
But so is Catra. Catra is also child. They established
Yeah.
like they've both been grabbed as children.
No, I think Catra was born into it or something,
Oh, even worse.
which is worse, yeah. But it's definitely that's a thing the show does really well is that it's complicated with
Yeah.
everyone,
I mean, and
as
nobody,
war often does.
Nobody likes Catra right away. It takes a very long time.
Yeah.
Because for very good reasons, they do not trust her.
I guess I'm just getting to like when are the Nuremberg trials gonna happen in She-Ra? And
Oh, that's gonna be
what-
fun for a kid show.
That's
Yeah,
gonna be
right?
fun for this.
I can
children's
sleep at
show.
night as a man. Good night.
I was only following orders. I don't know what you mean.
It's just a word. Calm down.
It's just a word. It's just a word.
It's always just a word.
Yeah, is that where I'm going? Is there? That's what the
Well,
movie should be. There should be.
Well, okay.
It should be trials.
Just be trials. Yeah. No.
She really should have Nuremberg as trials. No,
you
no,
just
but
have
like,
it- oh.
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I say, why don't you just have it like in Gundam, where everyone's like, "Yo, fuck that, fuck those two, let's get out of here, let them figure it out." Like,
Yeah.
they're fucking crazy.
Mhm.
I mean, also possible. I mean, so here's the other thing I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Just my quick, because Kevin Smith's animated project is happening.
Yeah. So
Where it's like
yeah,
barrel. So, but we don't know how integrated, if at all,
if at all, yeah.
if it will be.
Because She-Ra's obviously only integrated in the sense of using Grayskull
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
a term.
True.
And like kids have got to be going, what the fuck is Grayskull?
What's
And-
that? Hmm?
But
Why is it-
like in the classic He-Man's,
Uh-huh.
Skeletor gets all of his dark powers from Horde Prime,
Yeah.
who like, because it's like weird fantasy sci-fi, he's like a space demon for a
Mhm.
demon from outer space.
Yeah.
So I mean, they could just say parallel universe, it's not the same thing, it's not really.
Yeah.
Or maybe it is. I don't know. I'm interested to see what that is.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm interested to see too. And like Kevin Smith's helming it. We'll see. I mean, overall, like getting past the nitpicky stuff, She-Ra is phenomenal, like as a TV show.
I agree.
Like it's one of the best cartoons out there right now.
Yeah, I definitely want to
Yeah,
watch
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And
And and every time I think and the more I think about it, it's great. Yeah, I don't know what else to say because it's phenomenal everywhere else, which makes the shortcomings like kind of stick out.
That's true.
I mean, but they're such, like you said, they're little things. It's not anything that's going to change how I feel about the show. It's a
Yeah,
good show.
absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. I don't that if there's no trials after, then I will be fine. Like I
Okay,
don't
what
need that to be the movie.
What else have you been taking a look at?
I can't get over it. I thought about like maybe I should call the podcast that, but I'm not gonna.
Wait. Oh, yeah, no, do it.
Hero Trials.
She-Ra, Nuremberg Trials in She-Ra. Or the Nuremberg Trial of Catra.
It's just a word, said Skeletor.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, it's a phenomenal show. Let's see what else. Still going off of TV shows. I don't know if we talked about it last time, so stop me if I did. I watched the 2 seasons of Atlanta that are out.
Yeah, we did, but I
Okay,
love
we
Meg.
did. All right.
So
So phenomenal. Yeah, then don't have to say
Phenomenal.
much. One of the best.
Yeah.
Since it still has since they said they are gonna do season 3, I would argue it's one of the best airing shows currently. Like currently
Yeah.
airing shows.
they actually got picked up for 3 and 4 in one contract. So good for them.
Yeah,
Well
good
done.
for them. Which I hope there's a 3rd season. And like
Can't wait.
yeah, cannot wait. Always bordering along funny and horror and drama at the same time.
And they all kind of come out of nowhere. Like the tonal shifts just happen.
Yeah. But
Uh,
they feel like part of that universe.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I know we won't go into it again, but I'll just say again, the Michael Jackson story
Mm-hmm.
is so good and
Yeah.
so haunting and really funny. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if we said this. I'll just say it briefly. I, in my personal life, have talked about Sammy Sosa so much with people who knew that about him.
yeah, I knew
Okay.
that. That whole
Um,
scene's amazing.
That scene is so funny. I love it.
What else did I watch? Still watching Hannibal. Probably got to catch up more.
Nice.
But that is by design. So, yeah,
Wow, nice reference.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it forever from now on.
Wow.
This is my design.
This is by design. Hey, Will,
Ah.
do you want to have a disassociative episode where there's a bunch of blood on the floor? Cool.
Cool. I
Is Hannibal bad? Is he a bad guy? I can't tell. He's smart. He's nice.
My favorite thing
I-
about that show is how quickly they go to quell any question that there would be ambiguity. Like on Hannibal.
Mm-hmm.
I love that shit. Anyway.
Yeah.
Then I knew I watched one more. I started Paranoia Agent, but I won't talk about that until I finish it.
Yeah, you're very close.
Yeah. I think I'm at the halfway point.
Okay.
Or something. There was one more thing, I swear. That's all I can think of right now. So in terms of video games, I talk about beating P5R.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
You did.
Okay. Not much video game wise then, because it's been a lot of just here and there. I mean, Hades is phenomenal.
Mhm.
I'm tried starting The Witcher 3, just because
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, I kind of want to play Ghost of Tsushima, but I should probably not be like spending money too frequently right now.
Sure.
So I was like, I'll play a long RPG that I had and decided to catch up with the story on that. And I'm slowly trying to get into it. I'm usually not too into those kinds of games, but I'm going to keep giving it a shot. I'm only like 2 hours in, I think.
Yeah, I remember Chris telling me about that, and I was telling
Yeah.
him that it's just a known thing that Witcher 3 starts off. Even if you played the first 2 games or read the books prior, it still takes a while for it to. It's kind of like Yakuza. It takes a bit for for the momentum to pick up,
Uh,
and then like the biggest appeal of 3, especially as a side content, and just when the world actually opens up.
yeah, when the world fully opens up, it's supposed to be like amazing.
Yeah.
So I'll keep giving that a shot, man.
Mhm.
Movie wise, Popstar was the biggest thing. I believe. Did I watch anything else? No, because work was kind of wild. I kind of alluded to before. I had a little COVID scare over here. Luckily, test turned up negative, so that's good.
Very good.
Did both nostrils and throat,
Wow. Okay.
so really thorough.
Thorough.
Having said that, not as bad as I thought it would be, but it was just so like not a feeling that it's still like, whoa, it takes you back. But
It's
it was
like
a
your
lot
fucking
quicker
brain
than I
gets
thought it'd be.
scraped.
Sorry, what was that?
The one when I did it, it was just like, oh, I can feel this in my brain.
Yeah. Like that's deep. That's deep inside the
Yep.
skull.
I know.
Mhm.
and quicker than I thought it was gonna be. Having said that, like I don't want it to seem like, oh, I'm a big tough guy. No. Like the moment it went through, instant tears in my left eye.
Yep.
Like not even just out of pain or crying. It's just such a weird feeling that your body like reacts to it.
Yes.
I was like, whoa, that's weird. However, glad I got that tested and should be good. Let's see. That was anxiety inducing. So that was fun. Fuck, dude. I wish I had something more interesting to say. Other than that, the streams are gonna get back on track, I think, a little bit. And then once I get back to work, after everything's been clear, I'll try to make a schedule. So hopefully we'll be back to Deadly Premonition 2. By the way, Ian, dude, you gotta... I can't believe I've never talked to you about Deadly Premonition. You, of all people, should check out those two games.
I've actually been watching a lot of stuff about Deadly Premonition and Deadly Premonition 2, and it is bananas stuff.
Dude, I could send you a playthrough of Deadly Premonition 1 that would probably get you on it,
okay.
and like kind of everything that people love about it.
Okay.
So just remember these two this thing of Deadly Premonition 1, he swears that he had never watched Twin Peaks before then.
Mm-hmm.
Which feels like a lie, and I love sweary. So I love sweary a lot.
Well, what was the very first thing I said when I watched you play?
Oh God, was it? Because my thing was Deadly Premonition 2 is sweary didn't watch season 1 of True Detective.
Yeah.
And was that your thing?
No, I think what I said literally the very first time I was watching was like, this guy seems a lot like Dale Cooper from Twin.
Dude, oh my God, you should watch. You should. Oh, dude, doesn't your roommate have a Switch? Hello?
Is it running on that one? Is it running on that one?
Deadly Premonition 1 and 2, you can both buy for the Switch now.
Nice.
So if you do have the cash, like, and you get a chance, truly, those games are an experience. If not, I'll link you the fucking playthroughs if you want.
I think I've got a guy I'm gonna check out. I've been watching some guys off The Escapist.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna check out their channel. It's pretty good.
Okay. For sure. Yeah, man. I got back into, because of the really like tighter quarantine I was in during testing. I started playing guitar and bass again, so that's been fun because I've been kind of neglecting that stuff. I have been doing some pre-writes and still looking into what I'm going to do for my master's, so that's more of a personal thing. Again, I think I told you, Ian, there's something I want you to help write, but I'm going to do the draft of.
Yeah,
and
go ahead and
let
me know.
Promise you, I think you're the best person for punching this shit up.
Thank you so much.
Because boy, is it gonna be fun. So that's pretty much it. At least I can think of right now, man. So yeah. So should we just go into what we're looking forward to?
Yeah, let's put a bow on it. Talk about what we're looking forward to.
All right, Nick, what are you looking forward to?
Well, so media-wise, I'm looking forward to finishing up Super Hot Mind Control the Lead. I'll definitely talk about that next month. Definitely getting more in-depth into No Man's Sky because of the latest update. And then for Ever 14 as well, getting to just the mechanics and like the overall gameplay. And then, let's see. And then, I'm close to finishing up 1Q84, so I'll definitely have an overall opinion on it.
Okay.
Versus what I talked about here. And then, I'm just looking forward to those. And then if it's going to be August, then, I think those are it so far.
Yeah. Okay. Ian, what about you?
I am very much looking. Well, so a few movies may be trickling out come
Yeah, maybe.
autumn or fall. So I'm definitely not, if it's theater only, I guess I'm not going to see those movies.
Yeah.
But there was a Wes Anderson picture that came out on my cousin's birthday. That I
Oh, it's
really
already out? The Wes Anderson one?
Is it already out? I can't. Where is it?
No, I was asking you. It sounded like
It was supposed to have come out, and then they didn't open the theaters for July.
yeah.
So it's called The French Dispatch. It's like it's an anthology film essentially, and Bill Murray is the central character because it looks really good, and it's essentially 4 short films pieced together, shot in different styles.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic. I think that the movie may be released this December, but
I'm getting November 12th for Russia, but whatever the fuck that means.
So I mean, if I could get it at home, if I could stream it, I will be watching it.
Oh yeah, same here. Yeah, it's not out yet.
Let's see. Other things I'm looking forward to. I don't know. I've just been, kind of doing a lot of personal projects. I'm coming kind of close to finishing. So let's see if I can maybe do it by the end of the year. This is looking to be my timeline. I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And media that I'm really excited about. Well, I've got some books. I mentioned last episode how I've been really into is independent publishing houses. So I've got I've got a short stack of independent work that I really want to jump into.
Yeah, I think I have one of the publishers bookmarked because you talked about it last time.
Yeah.
So once I go through more book.
Definitely recommend it for me. I've got a new book called Sea Monsters, which sounds pretty tight. And then I think I'm actually going to go ahead and read an old Bradbury novel and get back into that. There's a trilogy that Ray Bradbury wrote about a detective in Hollywood set in the 60s. And that's really all I know. And that's all I need to know. It sounds good. So
Gotcha.
yeah, those will be my big ones. And then right at the clip, I'll mention one other little project that I'm excited for all the social media people.
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's see. What am I looking forward to? Well, probably finishing up Paranoia Agent and Hannibal. Hopefully. And then, let's see, trying to get back into The Witcher 3. Not much for video game wise, honestly. Probably just going through the library of stuff I already have in order to save cash. Then, yeah, there's not too many TV shows I can think. I would have to go back to refer to my list and all that of stuff that I wanna, or that I've always meant to tackle. That I just never got around to.
Now is the time.
Now's the time. Although work keeps. Once I went back to work, it kept me pretty busy. So.
Okay.
What better place than here?
Better time than now. Yeah, just looking forward back to streaming. I can't wait to keep playing Deadly P2. Holy shit, that game. That game might be the game of the year for me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, just playing it. My favorite review, I don't know if I mentioned it before, my favorite review of that game is from one Super Eye Patch Wolf who went, Deadly Premonition is a 3 out of 10. It's probably my game of the year. And I went, yeah, that feels right. That feels absolutely right. Boy, so looking forward to that. And then getting back to Bloodborne because I just find that game relaxing. Doing more of the FF7 streams. Just going back into it. So that's pretty much it for now. Ian, did you want to talk about that little project you're doing?
Yeah. So I think a great thing that's happening right now is just new ways of trying to connect with people since you can't be in person. I certainly am, doing my best with what time I have. It's really just a question of like, I don't have time for really long phone calls generally, even though I want to connect more with people, and I don't want to just do text. So I want to try something a little more old-fashioned, a little more special. And also, I love getting mail. And and also, hey everyone, if you don't know, the mails, the USPS, they're going through a hard time right now. It's not great to be a U.S. Postal Service. So if you can, one of the best ways to actually support them is buying stamps. Legitimately, it's one of their biggest money makers of all services that they provide.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing is I'm writing letters to people, and I invite you to write letters back to me. If you're interested in writing me a letter, go ahead and reach out. You can direct message me on my Instagram. That's Modern Corsair on Instagram. Or if you'd like, you can always reach out to me on Twitter. That's Modern Corsair 1 at Twitter. And just DM me. Give me a message with your address. I'll shoot off a letter, and I enjoy.
So Ian can come to your house.
That's right.
Unless you have a PO box, then do the PO box thing. But.
No, nobody knows where I live. No. I live in a
Oh,
field.
no. I mean, you're like asking people to give you their address.
Yeah, exactly. They won't be able to find me.
Dear Ian, use a bitch ass. No, I'm just kidding.
If you're I mean, I'm speaking directly to people I know, and if I put a return address, it means that you've already been to my home at some point. So
yeah.
So far, it's just been friends.
It's mostly just
Yeah.
Exactly. But I think it's a great service, and I'd recommend to anybody else, if you've got someone out there, write a letter to them, just to say how they're doing, check in on them, and at the same time, you can be helping out a really important service for the country. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, unfathomably important.
So, like, if we were in a world where it was only, UPS or FedEx, they could literally they will charge us whatever they want, and that will be.
Oh, and straight up, like, certain areas just won't get mail.
Yeah, rural areas will just stop getting mail.
Yeah,
you'll have to drive. You'll have to drive to the countryside, to the city, to get your mail if you live out in the country.
Yeah.
Because USPS does, because FedEx, they don't go out to the
No, in fact, they'll pawn it off to USPS to finish the last leg.
Yeah, they sure will.
Because they're crazy enough to go out there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really cool of you. I already sent you my thing, so I expect a letter post haste.
Okay. Very well, sir.
On horseback. It should be given to me on a stormy night.
It's on the youngest mule we could find.
And I should be walking the misty streets of London when I receive it.
I mean, I'll text you if I have an issue. I'll just
be like, "Hey, man, texting you to tell you I didn't get that letter." You were gonna say, no, but I still think that's really cool, man.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah,
no, yeah, that's really awesome of you. All right, anything else, everyone?
No, happy.
Happy. All right, well, bye.
All right, good night, gang.
Good night.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
I will.
man ever survived. Invisible hands are behind you just now. If you ever win that race against rage, then you can't cause it's no man's land. Masters in heavy rain, ultimate fame. Make shots slay, what they've done is in vain. Down in AK-47, 24/7, but you got 11 persecuted by heaven. Comes from the direction, no indication. You got to let it move first, let it out, let it down, let it inside, let loose, let it in, depress. Let's get it up. Then what you gonna do is drop the hammer down. Drop run, drop hammer, take it like a labor. You got blood all over, ash all over. Spit it out, some game's over. Tear up the fear, the end is coming in. Spit it out like a spear, I'll burn the dread. No soul, robust, go bust, be bust. Justice to the man with no life. Tear up the fear, the end is coming in. Spit it out like a spear, I'll burn the dread. No soul, robust, go bust, be bust. Justice to the man with no life. There's no man's man, no man ever survived. Invisible hands are behind you just now. If you ever win that race against rage, then you can't cause it's no man's land. Masters in heavy rain, ultimate fame. Make shots slay, what they've done is in vain. Down in AK-47, 24/7, but you got 11 persecuted by heaven. Comes from the direction, no indication. You got to let it move first, let it out, let it down, let it inside, let loose, let it in, depress. Let's get it up. Then what you gonna do is drop the hammer down. Drop run, drop hammer, take it like a labor. You got blood all over, ash all over. Spit it out, some game's over. Tear up the fear, the end is coming in. Spit it out like a spear, I'll burn the dread. No soul, robust, go bust, be bust. Justice to the man with no life. Tear up the fear, the end is coming in. Spit it out like a spear, I'll burn the dread. No soul, robust, go dust, be bust. Justice to the man with no life.